You can see and hear me. Thank you, Maggie. We are here. It's probably time to start talking a little bit on. Can you hear me okay? Am I talking too softly? I see my voice going up into the red. This is a new setup, but we're trying here, aren't we? Did you miss it? Did you miss the rapture? I'm telling you, I'm a little disappointed. Who's disappointed that this didn't happen? You know, I had rapture anxiety for a lot of my life. And so part of me really feels a little pity for these people. But then at the same time, I have to remember who they are, right? We know who they are, don't we? Hi, Radio Spencer. It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm disappointed too, Annie. I'm so disappointed. I went out a couple times. I expected to see people flying up in the air. You know, the crazy thing, and it's not surprising that being in that theology for so long, I never heard the name John Nelson Darby. I never heard it. All those years that I was in evangelical Christianity, no one ever mentioned John Nelson Darby. You got a new outfit, King. I'm so sorry. Maybe you can get your money back. Hi, Jeff. Hey, friend. I haven't seen you forever. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, 9 hours to go. We can only hope, right? Maybe I should have put that as the description. Wait, the rapture countdown. Did we need to do the rapture countdown? Is that what we need? How's everybody doing? I haven't gone live. I mean, seriously, hey ma'am. I haven't gone live and been here for a while. Hi, Shelley. Radio Spencer says people who don't believe in evolution believe a man on a white horse will take them into the clouds. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you, Shelley. I've missed being here. You've got a countdown? Oh, that would be awesome. I'll have to go see if I can check it out, but I got to leave for a soccer game as soon as I get off here. Hi, tall girl. Hi. How you doing? How are you? Yeah, it's good to see you here. There are some people, I mean, I love my mutuals. I'm very, very picky about who I bring into my mutuals, and I'm really honored that when you see somebody followed you back, like, what happened here? How did that happen? What we're trying to do here is go live on TikTok as well as other places. Thank you for the cute the gifts. Nora can track Santa but no Jesus. I mean, like, come on. What's the problem here? Why can't we track why can't we track Jesus? Emma says, what time zone does the rapture begin? I don't know. Nobody was really clear with that, were they? Nobody was really clear with what was going to happen. But I wrote a blog yesterday called it went out today called Stephanie, hi. It's good to see you too. Thank you. I'm going to try to come in here quite often, at least until we see what's going to happen with this platform, because I'm not going over to whatever the American version is. I'm not. So this is probably the final days of my being here. But I think we have a little bit of time between now and then. But I was talking about this blog I was writing yesterday called Godless Spirituality. And when I started to write it, I thought about my grandmother. And she was a Southern Baptist. She very much is instrumental in my faith. But I had this memory of the gibberish that was part of the sermons. They're just gibberish. They go from one topic to the other, and it's not like you follow a bridge or a closing. It's all about keeping a certain height of fear and righteous indignation and anger inside the congregation. And I remember the first time I went to a Presbyterian church, leaving there a little angry because I thought, why don't I feel lower than the gutter? Why do I feel good coming out of church? Who does this? Who does this? Woke mom boss wants me to touch on the religious psychosis because these rapture people. Yeah, and it's how many times have we seen this? I remember back in 2000. I don't know how many times have we had it. This one really seems to be intense, and I don't know if it's just because of the attention that evangelical, extreme, radicalized Christianity is getting right now. I don't know why this one is really taking shape and getting so much attention than the normals. But some of these videos that we're seeing when it comes to people leaving Bibles where they've left messages and crying that they may not be able to see their kids. But if you think about when you have been indoctrinated in this your entire life, and you have been told that as a child, and I've written about this quite often, about how when at 6 years old, being terrified that I was going to be the one left behind, that my family was going to be taken up and I was going to be left behind, and then being mocked because I was scared. So at 6 years old, I learned that my fear, I was not safe to express my fear. So I had to internalize that fear and learn how to deal with it myself. So as a child, you can imagine how that messes you up emotionally. And so you take that up into adulthood, and you see, what you're seeing is the manifestation of that. You're seeing the roots of high control religion, high indoctrination, dismissal of fear, dismissal of emotions, because it's all about getting to heaven. I had a woman tell me when at the height of 2020, so we know what was happening there. Again, I will have to be a little careful about what I can and can't talk. I am seeing people their lives getting taken down for next to nothing. So we're going to be cautious, because like I said, I'd like to be able to come here quite often and have these lives and have some really lively discussions, healthy discussions, and also encourage you to find me in other places, because I will not go to the American version of this app. Oracle has enough of our information, and it's just going to be an echo chamber for right-wing extremism. So I don't think that's anything that I want to be a part of. I have enough in other places that I think I've made peace. I've made peace with that this has been a fun run. So this will be it. So I'm going to be here. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about what's happening in our country. And I also know that people are, there's a wide range of people that are saying we're giving up too soon. I'm not giving up. I feel like I'm a realist. I'm not a nihilist. I'm a realist. So I think you prepare for the worst, and then you activate. You're active in defending what is right. But you have to also prepare. To me, it's like insurance. Why do you have insurance if you're not taking care of the just in case? So those are the things that we have to make sure that we're just being cautious. So I've been doing a lot of research on how to prep, what needs to happen, what's your plan A, what's your plan B, what's your plan C. I don't think those are discussions that we're going to be able to go have here, but I will be going live in other places. I just got a message, but I don't know what it was. We'll have to see what it is. Yeah, Catherine, I never was there. I have an account that I go in when I need to go see something, but the Bird app, I don't miss it all. Opinions on the Rapture Psychosis. Well, Jay, I just talked about it a little bit. Let me see I saw a question. I want to get back to somebody who said that they were a licensed spiritual practitioner. There you go. Hi, Kelly. I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner, and I appreciate what you're doing to help others. Thank you, Kelly. I'm glad you're here. Well, Kristen, that's your opinion. Hold up. What are we preparing for? First Amendment fuel. I think we're just preparing for some of what I think is reading, what I would call reading the room or reading the country. What's happening in our country, and what does it mean when it comes to protecting the most vulnerable? I mean, you can read the headlines, and you can watch the press conferences, and you can hear that there are certainly targeted people who are being made out to be and being dehumanized. And if you know those people, if they're your loved ones, if they're your friends, what are we doing to protect them? And what does that mean for the next 90 days, next year, next 5 years? What does that mean? And having those candid conversations, which I don't think we can. Okay, I thought you meant the fake rapture. No! All right. First Amendment, fuel, are you new here? Maybe 20 years ago, I'd have been here going, all right, now y'all, don't pay your light bill, don't worry about washing your undies, and certainly leave your keys on the counter for your Uncle Fred, who you know is not going to be raptured, okay? Because we just know that the rest of us are heading right on up to heaven. Not anymore. Not anymore. Kristen says, my mom paid her monthly premium for decades and they didn't pay for her last weeks of life. I am so sorry. Health insurance in our country is absolutely unconscionable when it comes to denial of claims, the outrageous premiums. I am so sorry, and thank you for clarifying what you mean, and I'm very, very sorry about that. Reen says, yeah, I'm hearing the term religious psychosis a lot lately in regards to the rapture. You're seeing that. I just brought, thank you. Okay, I'll go back to that in a minute. I will tell y'all, you're about to see how very divergent I am. I can fool you in videos, but you're about to see. I'm a pinball, always bouncing around. If you could see my house right now, and about 16 different projects that haven't been done. And my daughter is one of the mods at Rev Karla's shop right now, and you're not allowed to talk about any of this. You're not allowed to confirm any of it, but I am a little divergent on this side. So the psychosis is real, and I was sharing that as a child, how hard that was. I also want to say that I haven't gone live in so long that I don't even have the ability to invite guests up. That has been grayed out. I'm on the TikTok studio. I'm supposed to go, it's telling me I have to go live so many minutes, so many days in a row, and we'll be able to get that back. I'll be able to answer your questions, bring you up, have a discussion, and I'm looking forward to that time again. We used to do that quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to that. The other thing I'd like to do is I'm back to writing. Writing is my first love. As much as I love making these videos, writing is my love. And so I am writing regularly someplace else. And I think I can say Bink in my Lio. I know we're 12 here, but you can go find those. And what I hope to be able to do is have a conversation about those writings. So for instance, I mentioned that I just wrote one called Godless Spirituality. I just finished one that's going to post on Friday that's called, just finished it this morning. I'm fine. Oh, it's inspired by Heather Cox Richardson, something that she made in a comment. So I'm not going to tell the title of that. And then the one I did on Sunday, Lynette, do you remember the name of it? Do you remember the title of it? What was it? It was in honor of the autumn equinox, when darkness comes, and what will we do? So I was tying in the importance of not being afraid of the dark. Don't fear the darkness. So many of us are, what the news is intended to paralyze you. The news is intended to confuse you, to overwhelm you, to put you in a state of paralysis. And the reason they're doing that is because this is how Christian patriarchy operates. This is how authoritarianism operates. It's very highly effective, and they want us to believe that we have less power than what we have. And I think that it's time for us to become a collective in so many ways in our communities. How are we preparing? I know people who are starting to create, thank you for the follows, thank you for the shares, thank you for the likes. I know people who are creating pods, and in those pods, they're making sure that they have resources that they need just in case. Just in case. So then from there, you expand out. What's your activism? I do have some books. Who's interested in, besides my book? Shameless plug for the deconstructing, leaving church, finding faith. I really do regret that finding faith part, because you all think that it's faith that's based in Christian values, and it's not. So people that have been here that have read it can tell you that's not what it's about. But please go find my book. You can get a signed copy here on the TikTok shop, and you can also get them where books are sold. But someone said, please come here daily. I'm really going to try. Historical fiction book. I love your podcast. Are you planning to have any other? I'll wait for this part 2 of that. Thank you for the share in the lives. That helps protect this life. I'm seeing that a lot. Help us protect this life. Do I have anybody over on the tube of the U? How'd I do that? We're getting started over there. That's a lot of fun though. I'm looking forward to that. Yes. So what I'm historical fic book club. What I'm going to do is my writings. I'm going to do the audio version of those. And once these, I can also have guests up. Some of those that are really important conversations that I have with people, those will also go up onto the podcasts. Okay. And then I'm going to start having discussions that are more specific, where I don't have to worry about, worried about the language or things that could get me restricted. I will be having those elsewhere. So I'm going to be doing some discussions about my book, but also some things that are related to go deeper into some book discussions. For instance, if you haven't seen this book, Matthew Taylor's The Violent Take It by Force, he does a deep dive into the Christian movement that is threatening our democracy. I'm actually reading this, and I'm also listening to a podcast about this that you can find, I believe, at Straight White American Jesus. So this is a really, really good book if you're wanting to educate yourself. And if you're really overwhelmed about how to get started with your activism, I'm sure everybody's by now read this tiny little book on tyranny, right? You've read this. But I did just find this book. Has anybody heard of mutual aid? So this is a really good book. And this book here, Microactivism. I'm also affiliated with a group that has a bunch of resources for starting mutual aid community and how to put together what some people call a pod of people, mutual aid societies, whatever you want to call it. I have some resources, and I'll be able to share those off here, someplace else. And I apologize that my language has to be so coded. Is this about becoming a better Catholic? Hi, Kathy. Are you new here? No, it's not. And if you are a Catholic and that's important to you, then good on you. But I'm deconstructing, and I left church and then I left Christianity. And I haven't really talked about that much here. I've got a couple of videos, but I've done a deep dive. So I've talked about it in my book about deconstructing, but then over where I'm writing, I talk about untethering from Christianity and still, holding on to this spirituality, that the questions that hold me, that compel me forward to say, well, if my spirituality is connected to my humanity, what do I need to do to be a better person, to leave this place better than I found it, and that it was something I can give back in a way that leaves the world a nicer, kinder place. Why would I want to do that? Because I deconstructed from organized religion. A lot of people do that, Kathy. I'm not sure what kind of specifically your questions are, and I'm absolutely fine with people who are churched and who are part of organized religion being here, but the minute you start proselytizing, as Kittles did, you're not welcome here. I mean, even that phrase, Jesus loves you, can be triggering for someone who is recovering from or suffering from religious trauma. And so we have to create a safe space here. Again, the questions are welcome, but proselytizing, evangelizing is not. If people are confused about what that means, we can talk about it, but we're not, this isn't a place for that. This is absolutely not a place for that. Now, I do have a book. Well, maybe the flags will tell you how important this book is to me. I've read it twice now. Timothy Egan's A Fever in the Heartland. And someone had recommended this to me, Stephanie, strong-willed child. She's here on TikTok. She's amazing. And I could not put this book down. And we want to talk about, when people talk about coincidences, there are no coincidences and stuff like that, and why I can't give up on spirituality and things like that. At that time, I was walking through a Barnes & Noble, and I just happened to see this book, Why Fish Don't Exist. Don't ask me why. The name intrigued me. I saw it was a national bestseller. Anybody here who knows anything about this book? Why Fish Don't Exist. Anybody here who knows anything about this book? Anybody here know anything about this book, A Fever in the Heartland? Ego Fast, I'll come back to your question. Or some of those. I'll try to, I have my mod here. She's wonderful. She's my daughter, so I could tell you. Anybody know anything about these books? Okay, if you don't, especially if you're from Indiana, you need to read Why Fish Don't Exist and the overlay of this book, A Fever in the Heartland. Both of them tell the story of how parts of what happened in World War II that actually ended up happening in Europe began here, right here on the campus of Indiana University. That is where it started. I had no idea when I picked this book up. And right after I read this book, I read this one, which tells the story of the rise. Can you see the title? Well, I know it's inverted for you, but it talks about the white sheet. Sorry, my camera just messed up. It talks about the white sheet people and the origins of them and how close we came to one of their leaders becoming president in the 20s. How close we came, listen to me, how close we came to that person becoming the president in the 20s. And you know what stopped him? One woman. One woman's testimony. It's all true. It's all here. It's a disturbing read, but it's necessary to understand where we are right now. This is why it's so important to understand history. Okay, did I see something? Do we need to tell somebody bye? Oh, it looks like that person already went bye-bye. Okay. So I don't need to answer. Oh, Kathy called me the devil. You know what's interesting about that? Because they always said that if you want to truly believe in end times theology, as people have misconstrued it, they always said they would miss who really the Antichrist was. And you kind of go, wow, there's some validity to that a little bit, right? Am I right? What am I missing? Anyway, we're not going to go there today. Thank you for putting those 2 books on there. So if you want to read a little bit about the history, but I know a lot of people are forward facing. That's why I showed you micro activism, mutual aid. Don't forget, for those of you who are here who are really deconstructing, really deconstructing, and I know that's our number one priority, but understanding Christian nationalism and understanding its roots related to everything that has happened in this country, including manifest destiny and dominionism, dominion theology, all of that, 7 Mountain Mandate, is the reason we are here today. That's the reason. Everything that's happening right now is related to the founding of this country and people believing that that Christianity is blurred into the foundation of this country, so much so that they believe they now have the right to suppress everyone else's beliefs and everyone else's rights. Lainey says, I'm not, nor ever was a Christian, but I feel learning about it is absolutely important. It is absolutely important. You are so right, Lainey. Is that my Lainey? I don't know if that's my Lainey or not. Are the Christians gone? Ron says, are the Christians gone? Did they get raptured? I don't think they did. I don't think they did, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they're still going to be here. I really thought we were going to have heaven on earth. Get it? No, Lainey from Alabama. I'd love to be your Lainey too. Oh, you're sweet. Well, you're here, so you are. So you are. I know. I don't know how many times this has happened, but it's, when you think about the anxiety that this has caused people, and part of me, it's like there's going to be a lot of people who are upset that they didn't get raptured. They really thought that they were going to get out of here. That reminds me of something I was going to say earlier when I had seen somebody during 2020 and she was talking about the things that were happening and around the virus and things like that. And she told her 12-year-old twins that they weren't going to take any precautions because the worst thing that was going to happen is that they were going to be unalived and they would be with Jesus. She told her 12-year-old sons that. And I remember sitting across the table from her going, that was my childhood. That was my childhood. That's the kind of thing that and she said they were fine. No, they weren't. No, they were not fine. Kids do not have the emotional maturity to understand that kind of that mentality, that the emotions around it, the mortality of it, they do not understand. But when the adult dismisses their fear and dismisses their pain and creates a narrative that says the most important thing in your life is to prepare to meet Jesus, then you can see how we are where we are today. There is this psychosis around some that you see inside this movement, and that goes well beyond MAGA. I'm not comfortable calling this an evangelical movement. I'm not even comfortable calling it MAGA, because this is inside progressive Christianity. This is deeper than what you know, and I know that for a fact. I have spoken to too many progressive pastors who have to be careful about what they say on Sunday, or they're going to offend the very people who are paying their light bill, who very much voted for Trump, who very much believe in this. They may not believe in end times theology. They might not believe in the rapture because they're progressive. They're educated, but they're also supremacists. And so you don't have to have been raised Southern Baptist to support this movement. It's very much here. Very much so. Let's see. What do we got here? Wanted attention. Yeah, it very much is June. It very much is a psychosis. You think it's wonderful. Well, when you live with it, it isn't. It's scary. It really is scary. It really is. No, none of us got raptured, unfortunately. Queen of my castle, it's so good to see you. I saw the most oxymoron message today. They said they sold everything and donated to the church. I really hope they didn't. But I know people who did. I know a man who was almost homeless. He was living in his car. And he went to our church, and he fought to get back pay on disability that he was owed. And he fought. And when he got it, and it was well over $47,000, he gave half of it to the church because of all the back tithing that he owed. And I begged him not to do that. And I was at that time indoctrinated. When I think about all the little places where I was resisting Christian patriarchy and didn't make the connection, but I begged him. He didn't even have a house. He didn't have anything. He had no furniture. All he had was his guitar and the clothes on his back. And he gave them half that money. That was just wrong. It was just, and they took it. They took that money from that man. Yeah, you can tell I still get angry. I get angry. They took it. Yes, Jan, they took it. Thank you, Jamin. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but thank you. Expat Kim asking too many questions for years. And I bet you were told you were the problem. Spirit of offense, weak faith, doubter's mind, all those things that J-Men, thank you. I hope I remember that. All those things that we were taught that weren't, we weren't the problem. We were the problem in that we weren't going to stop asking. We were the problem because we knew we were starting to figure things out. We couldn't reconcile the hypocrisy that we were witnessing. And somewhere along the line, you start to see that this is nothing but a system that's protecting the white Christian man at the pulpit for most of us. Yeah. Yes, S. Sitter, I do not blame you. Yes, thank you, Queen of my Castle. I'm hoping to come back more. I'm hoping to be here. I think for the time that we're in, we need some places to be able to process this, just even if it's just nothing. We don't talk about the news. We don't talk about Tylenol. We don't talk about Jimmy Kimmel. We don't talk about CK. I'm not saying I won't. I've got opinions. And I've written about all of that where I'm now writing my blog, The Bink in My Lio. Do you see how hard I have to work on these coded language? But I wrote about them. I wrote about the hypocrisy in Brian Kilmeade's apology. There's so much that you could go see if you want to find me elsewhere. I've also want to make it very clear. I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Indiana, Kigmet. I want to make it very clear. I'm not going away from this. I'm not going to go to the other version of this app when it becomes Americanized. We are already, most of our social media is already obeying in advance or working in cooperation with. And anything that Oracle is related to, Larry Eliason, I think is his name, that have a connection with Palantir. I'm really testing the moderation right now. That is not anything that I want to be affiliated with. Some of you may have seen the video I did where I had a conversation with AI. That video disappeared, but I'm hoping to get that content back up in another form. Who got blocked? Hey, I'm pretty good. A couple of things that you can do to help protect this live. If you can share it, commenting certainly does help. Liking the live, following me if you're not already a follower. Thank you for those of you who are actually joining on YouTube, on Tube of the U. I can't say that. And I just so appreciate, yes, I'm here. I'm hoping to come. My goal would be to come a couple hours in the afternoons, at least during the weekdays. We're going to try to have that be our goal. And like I said, even if it's just a pause for breath or something, just insane happens or scary and we need to talk. Thank you, Bean Marie. That's very kind of you. I can't, Lainey, I can't say it. Nope. Can't do anything. The new rules that came out September 30th or September 13th are very restrictive. So I have to be really careful about what I say. But hopefully we'll find ways that we can still connect once this app has moved to First Amendment Fuel says, I got Jewish friends and they now feel left behind because of the rapture, I hope. Is that what you're saying? Thank you, Lenny. You love my book. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm getting some message over on Two with You. That's so cool. Thank you, Christine. I see that. I don't know. The way we're having to do this, I've got two cameras, so I hope you see me. Hi. I see you there. I see a couple people who have joined over there. Here's the format that Lynette and I. Lynette is my daughter. She's the one that's showing up in the comments under Rev Karla shop. Y'all don't want to mess with her. Those of you who've been around for a while know she is the ultimate when it comes to modding. But we're going to try to do some Q&As. And here's what we do. I have so many questions from you all, and I apologize, and some of them are so old that they're not even relevant. But we're going to have a way for you to be able to submit your questions in case you don't catch them. And then we'll talk about them on live, and then they will be recorded and put up to the other place where the link is in my bio. I hope that makes sense of where we are. And so the recording of those will be there. In case you miss it, you can go find those recordings there. The entire live will always be up on Tube of the U. So you can find that, or I think YT, I think I can say that. But anyway, that you'll be able to find the entire lives there, so you can go back and watch things, or if you want to ask some questions, we'll pick them and we'll try to get them and get so that we can answer them in the future. The pink is it? Yes, that's exactly what it is. Hey, it's me, Lorna. Hey, Lorna, I see you over there on YT. Thank you so much for joining me there. That's really cool. It's fun to see this, and my sound is still good. Y'all can hear and see me okay. Hi, Laura. Your name sounds familiar. I think I know you, don't I? Thank you so much for the live shares. Thank you, everything that you're doing to help support this live. That is a really important thing to be able to do here. I hear that there's a couple of things that you can do, like share, comment, and also I think if I have the repost, I'm not sure I do, but if I do, hi Glenda, it's so good to see you over on YT as well. So eventually, after I do a couple of these lives, I'm planning on, you can let me know what you want. What would you like to see? How would you like these to be formatted? Like, I know a lot of people still have questions about deconstructing or some things that you're processing. I'm first and foremost here for that. Number two, we have authoritarianism staring us right down our face. And so we need to be talking about what are we going to do? What's our plan? And I always said, y'all, I'm not a leader in a movement like this. I know how to start a spay-neuter clinic. Is that a movement? Does that count? And I'm not saying that from a place of concern. I wake up almost every day about 3 a.m. going, oh my God. Because I am one of those back in 2015 when Mike Pence tried to pass one of the most restrictive acts based on religion, making it so that if you're a Christian, you could basically turn away anybody that you wanted to. It actually did pass. And then the pushback was so much, including from corporate America, that they had to water down the bill. Well, then that put him on Trump's radar. And I said, he will be our vice president. And people laughed at me. And then, of course, I said, as soon as Trump said that he wanted to ban Muslims coming into the country until he knew what the hell was going on, he just won. Because anybody who's ever sat in a church and heard the way we were taught to hate other people who don't look like, love like, or believe like we do, or who weren't born in the right country, we knew what was happening, and no one believed us. Now, I'm not all about saying, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. But I say that from context. So for people who tell me I'm overreacting about what's going to happen next, I'm just giving you a roadmap that many of us saw coming because we've been in it. Some of you may never have heard of Jerry Falwell except for the moral majority from a distance and thought, well, his influence went away when he passed away. That was just the beginning. Some of you have never heard the name Paul Ryrick. And if you have never read the book, it's an easy read. Well, it's a short read. Bad Faith, which is also a documentary. You're going to learn that actually Jerry Falwell was a second player to Paul Wyrick. Y'all, there's a lot that we need to know and understand. Yes, Laura, thank you. I see a pinned comment. I'm going to go ahead and respond to this. Yeah, Plum, are you talking about Jerry Falwell Jr.? He is. Have you seen the documentary? I'm coming back to the pinned comment, I promise. Like I said, the only thing that these lives do, they expose how scattered I am. The videos give me a little bit of a togetherness that's not really me. Yes, so Bad Faith is a document, but there's another document about Jerry Falwell Jr. What's the name of it? Somebody help me out here. So then the religious psychosis is the term I just hear. Yeah, I mean, it's real. It's absolutely real. I've been in church gatherings and revivals where the whole thing was to say, what are we going to do when the rapture happens? What are you going to do with your family? What are you going to do if your kids aren't saved? How are you going to feel about these things? To dismiss, to basically say, carve all that out. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in your life is Jesus. You don't know how many sermons over the years I heard that was just about, what about Jesus? Nothing else in your life matters. Nothing else in your life matters. Is it God forbid? Lorna, you could be right. I don't know how to, I might lose you. So let me see. We're going to find that documentary. It is. Thank you, Lorna. You're very right. God forbid. The scandal that brought down a dynasty. And it's all about Liberty University. But I heard, so he had to resign after this scandal, but I hear he's coming back. Of course he's coming back. He didn't go anywhere. Even if he's not standing at the pulpit or at the podium, he's still making millions off the system that his dad created. So now he wants to be back because that ego is not going away, and white Christian patriarchy protects white Christian patriarchy. There's nobody else that they're going to put in that system except for daddy's boy. It's probably somehow irrevocable that he has to go there. They just did that for aesthetics. It's not about ethical at all. It's always about they will protect incompetency. They will protect incompetency because they're loyal. Every time. If they are loyal, it doesn't matter how incompetent they are, or how corrupt, or how abusive, or how disgusting, or how vile they are. And it is why the insidious side of Christianity that is protected, and why so many of them that are reported and caught each month have some affiliation to organized religion. Because it is so easy to find your victims within a system that perpetuates the victimization of those who need to be loyal to the system. That is what the system is for. Now, if you think I'm wrong, just think, thank you, Lenny. If you think I'm wrong, look at just one example, the Southern Baptist Convention in 2022 released the report about the abusers that they knew were inside the Southern Baptist Convention. The Southern Baptist Convention is the largest evangelical Christian denomination in the nation. Hundreds of names with a commitment with a commitment to keep that list monitored, to be accountable to their congregations for the abusers, to protect the victims. They said that over and over and over again, that now it's a new leaf. They were going to do it. They find, my goodness, who gave me a galaxy? Thank you so much. That was Queen of My Castle. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the heart me's. I want to tell you, those are very important for protecting the lives. So if I'm not seeing your gifts, please know that I see them. But Queen of My Castle, thank you again for that. That's so sweet of you. Their convention. So each year, the Southern Baptist Convention, SBC, has a convention where they vote who they're kicking out, what they're doing as far as a denomination. Guess what they did this year? They officially abandoned overseeing that database. Go look it up. Go look it up. They officially abandoned doing anything with that database, because you know why? They never intended to do anything about it. They protect their abusers just like the same way, more effectively than they actually do inside the Catholic Church, number one. Number two, they don't have to do anything about it to lose the loyal. They knew those who are loyal to them, that is not a deal breaker. That is not a deal breaker to hide abusers inside your church. So if you want to find that, somebody right now is furiously typing. Type in Southern Baptists Abandoned Abuse Database, and you will find your documents. You will find the articles from credible sources. Katie, that's right. You love who? And the looks I get you love him? Who? I guess I'm missing something. I saw the Westboro Baptist Church at Kirk's funeral with signs. What did they say? Whoa, tweet. I'm interested to know what wheat. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. What did they say? Sorry, so when I go off on a rant like that, then I have to catch up in the documents. Oh, you live in Tennessee. Okay. I thought, wait a minute, your comment was confusing me. That's one of the things I say all the time. Thank you for that. Thank you for the crown. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, yeah. Westboro was at Kirk's funeral. You know, the thing about, yes, Lisa, I agree with you. So the thing about Westboro, I think the other damage that Westboro did to this, to hiding radicalization of Christianity that was actually more mainstream, which that vein comes from The Family. If you haven't watched The Family on Netflix, so that originated in the 50s and the 60s, and by the 70s they realized they were really going to have to ignite their base to vote, because they weren't very active voting, and they were going to have to ignite them to move away from the civil rights movement. So that's when they decided to become pro-life. And that's all told in the book Bad Faith. Okay, so you can go read that, or you can go see the documentary. So the part about Westboro is that, you know, that got all kinds of attention, all their horrific signs, their offensive signs, protesting at soldiers' funerals, things like that. I mean, that was so outrageous. And we know, like, thank God we're not them. But growing right in the middle of mainstream Christianity is Christian nationalism. They were hiding in plain sight all this time, and they are not Westboro. But now that they're out and in control, they are highly more toxic and scary and linked to fascism. So I don't have any idea why what their deal is, but they very much are a distraction, because they don't have access to the power that Christian nationalist does, that's been funded and protected with that vein that started with the people who started The Family back in the 50s. So you have all this entire vein of Christianity that's right in the middle of the most prolific organizations in mainstream white Christianity, which is mostly what they call themselves non-denominational, which almost always means evangelical. But they know how, the one thing they know how to do better than anybody, better than any organization, is rebrand themselves to hide the toxic theology. They know how to modernize their look. And I saw a question that I'm going to answer at one of the lives coming up is, what about this movement where the data show, and it's also part of Pew Research Center, which is a very valid research-based data that shows that Gen Z, there is a slight uptick in how many Gen Z kids are going back to church. And I want to talk about that because I do think that's an important conversation. But the reason they can also do that is because of the rebranding. You put this modern spin, hi Linda, you put this modern spin on any type of spirituality, and you're going to attract people. You put a pastor in it, you put pastor in jeans, you put a rock band, you put smoke machine, you put a nice drum set, and all of a sudden you give this feeling that it's all modernized when that toxic theology is hiding right behind that black screen on stage. Honey, just ask them to baptize your gay daughter. Just ask them to officiate the marriage of your gay son, your gay nephew, whatever. Just ask them. Ask them to ordain your trans sister. It ain't happening. And I have to be careful talking about the LGBTQIA+, so we're not going to be able to dive deeply into those conversations here because this is all for educational purposes. It would help if you all said that in the comments if I get going on something that might be somewhat controversial, just to help protect the live share, commenting, that does it as well. But just ask them those. You will find out just how modern they are. They're not. Thank you, Wireless. Yes, indeed. Ooh, I've been on for almost an hour. It just goes by so much when we're having fun, doesn't it? It goes by so much. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, David. I'm so glad to be back here. I'm so glad for so many of you that are here. Like I said, I will truly try to be back here several times a week. I hope to come in the afternoon. Set your notifications because this is all new, and I have this set up where I'm trying to go on in different platforms. Thank you for the gifts. I'm trying to go on different platforms, and I'm not good at this at all. I have a phone, and that's how I normally even edit my videos. It's all on this phone. So going to desktop has been a little troubling, but we're going to get there. We're going to do this together. And again, when next time we come back, be thinking about some of the things that you would like to talk about. I would like this to be a place where there's some inspiration, a little comfort, but also activism. We have a lot to do. This is dismantling patriarchy is certainly something many of us are interested in, but right now it is so entrenched into the authoritarianism that now has taken over our country. There's no denying that that's what's happened. And it's happening at breakneck speed, and we have to make sure that we're looking at it as such. So the way I often, when I'm talking to people privately, I will talk about have a plan A, have a plan B, and have a plan C if you can afford it. But most importantly, protect those closest to you, who you love, who are most vulnerable. And anybody that's tied to this regime who's using language against the LGBTQIA plus community, Black people, Indigenous people of color, immigrants, you know what's happening. You know what's happening there. It is time absolutely for you to get involved and get activated. How can you help them? How can you help them be safe? What do we need to do? One of the organizations that, if you haven't heard of, it's time to know more about. That's funny. I forgot the name of it. Rainbow Railroad, rainbowrailroad.org, and it's an organization in Canada that's helping the LGBTQI community. Right now, they're overwhelmed with requests. What do we have to do? Thank you, hey, punks. Hey, when I can have guests, you come back here right now. Your mother says you have to come back. Oh, I didn't see Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Thank you, Design Girl. Thank you, Kigment. Thank you all so very much for being here, but think about what you want to talk about. I do think that there are people now, it's rainbowrailroad.org. Rainbowrailroad.org. I also think, thank you, Sue Ellen, it's good to see you here as well. Think about, people are now starting to put together organizations or support for people to get them out of red states, especially the most marginalized, those who are being dehumanized. Think of anybody you know, anybody who's being dehumanized are people who are targets. And the first move would be, if they are willing and want to do, how do we need to protect them? And that's more than likely getting them out of red states. Getting them in touch with people. Lynette said she's going to compile the list of the books I presented today. I've got so many more I'll share with you, but I don't want to overwhelm. But get educated so that you understand what's happening, especially if a Christian tells you that they're persecuted. No, they're not. Have grown up. Oh, thank you, Wireless. That's very kind of you. I hope to come back. Set your notifications, please. And thank you again for liking and sharing this. It's been so nice to be back here. I have a pinned video that if you haven't seen, I ask you to go see it, because Queen of My Castle, my goodness, thank you so much. There's some things going on in my life that sometimes disrupt my schedule, and it's nothing I can talk about. It's nothing I can talk about publicly. I'm well supported, and I'm okay, and I'm safe. But I just know that if I don't come back as often as I want, just know that something has disrupted my schedule, and I have to go take care of some things. So, but with that being said, hi, Karla. It's so good to see you. Karla with a K. No, I'm not Episcopalian. I'm not Episcopalian. We can talk about that some other time. Keep gathering your questions. Lynette will tell you where you can answer them, but let's just make a commitment to be here when we can. I am. Thank you, Lorna. I am. I'm taking care of myself as best I can. It's a good day. Today's a good day. Thank you all so very much. It's been so good to see you. I am so honored to be in this space with you as always, my dear ones. We'll talk soon, okay? Bye for now.